Give it back!
And welcome back to more Fatal Frame. So already at the start of the second night, we have lost that precious mirror fragment that we got in the shrine in the previous update. And well, I guess the first thing to do would be to chase after that child, but something seems to be amiss at this wall over here. And to the observant viewer, you may have noticed that the scroll that was once on the wall here is now missing. And even though that may seem a bit minor, if we actually go and examine the wall, we see that, well, it just won't budge. So it seems we're going to have to be on the lookout for the scroll that was once here to hopefully catch up with that mysterious ghost child. But since there are plenty of shiny new items in here, we might as well start collecting. So it's good to keep an eye out for any hidden items, as there are one or two in here. But on this pillow, we actually do find some new notes from Mafuyo himself. Seems that he actually did find out that he was a bit too late to save Mr. Takamine, even though I hope he didn't have to deal with him up in the shrine as well. But it does give Miku here some much needed hope that maybe Mafuyo is actually still alive. There actually is one final item left in the room. It's actually hidden on this table here. And it is a diary entry for a character we haven't actually met yet. And it gives a pretty optimistic look for whomever might have been living in the mountains. So that's always positive. But let's go and see what else is new waiting for us out in the mansion. Why, plenty of brand new, vanishing, and very quick ghosts. Now, as of right now, the layout of the mansion is pretty much similar to what we've seen. Might as well go ahead and follow that kid ghost that we saw. That leads us straight into a brand new enemy ghost. This is the blinded woman. We saw a little bit of her in the previous update, but she's actually very dangerous. If you happen to take a picture of her when she's not in her shudder moment, she will always attack you. And pretty much if you try to run or make too much movement, she will attack you. She is very quick. The good thing is, her shudder chance is pretty large, so it's not too hard to get her in that moment and not get too damaged. Most of the time, you're actually just going to be taken by surprise by her quick teleporting and wanting to try to run away. But there are quite a few more items waiting out here in the Cherry Atrium. Some of them are in places we have found items previously, such as over here in this corner. But sadly, there is nothing waiting for us behind this column, so that stone mirror that was there before is now permanently gone. See if this hanged woman's wisp has anything new to say.
My daughter. She was only playing demon tag.
I get a feeling that's probably the lady's diary that we had just found in the doll room. But before we continue on, I have a very strong feeling that we actually want to head back to the rubble room. I think there's going to be something new waiting for us back there. We already find some new shinies. This is actually a very important scroll here. As you can tell, it's got some red numbers, and that means that we will probably be running into one of those numbered combination doors. Also, before we actually head over to the rubble room, it seems that someone has fixed these candles here. And, well, if we wanted to continue back through this door, mysteriously it has been locked. So that is one of the many changes that we will be seeing, is that some of the pathways that were previously open to us have now been blocked off. But that doesn't mean that we'll have less areas to deal with. Quite the opposite. We're actually going to be exploring new and exciting areas of the mansion. And that is actually why we have backtracked to the rubble room. That large locked door from before is now having a magical activation on it. And it shows us a somewhat familiar location. Yeah, you might recall that well from where we fought Tomoe earlier in an update. So we're just going to take a trek back there. And this is actually, well, going to show one of the weaknesses of the game that I have mentioned before, is just the, well, sheer amount of backtracking that does become pretty much necessary throughout the game. The mansion itself, while very lovely and atmospheric, is actually not that large. But the game actually does a pretty good job of padding out the backtracking. Also, I figured, well, we're actually sitting on quite a bit of Type 37 film, and it never hurts to have some more powerful ammunition at our disposal. Because I get a feeling that things are going to be getting a little bit rough. So there is a shiny over here in the darkness. This is actually going to be our first stone mirror that we have come across. But we actually still have the stone mirror from the previous update, so we're just going to mark that down mentally in case we need it later. But that previously boarded door is now unboarded, but I feel like we should chase after that kid. We have our second encounter with the man with long arms. And even though he does have a bit more health than he did before, we have now a much more powered up camera and better film. So he is not too difficult to dispatch. Still, he does have one of the more difficult attack patterns and shudder chances to get around, especially for just a normal enemy. But we have already come upon yet another sealed off door. Hopefully we don't have to backtrack too much for this one. That is a tad bit vague. Still, there can't be that many stairs that we can access right now. Actually, it is not too far away. It is the stairs leading up to the second floor here. And it's not too hard to find this ghost, even though it does kind of blend in with the wall behind it. And while we are here at the stairs, there is a hidden ghost waiting for us up on the second floor. So let's go ahead and head up there and take care of that. Now, it may not seem immediately obvious where it might be, but if we head along the banister here, the viewfinder will light up. And the ghost is actually waiting up here in the window. Again, we see that monk that we took a picture of in that water-filled room. Not exactly sure about the backstory yet about that particular ghost, but I feel that we will definitely be finding out about that later. And as you can probably guess, that running child is actually an incredibly difficult ghost to get a hold of. Actually runs a lot faster than most of the vanishing ghosts that we've been seeing. Also, I mentioned before, I was a bit unsure of what this room was, and apparently by the description on the map, this is called the fish tank room. I'm not sure if it was commonplaces for a mansion back in old Japanese times to have just large fish tanks room, but well, there you go. But since we have gotten onto a new night, the combination for the door has changed for some reason. Thankfully, we did manage to pick up the hint that we needed to open the door, and that is the 26th day of the 11th month. So the combination is just 2611. Now, while we weren't able to open this well before, I don't know, maybe something has changed and we can open it now. And say hello to the girl in the well. Now, she is a pretty unique ghost. She attacks pretty much exactly like Tomoe did, but she's actually a little bit faster. Comparatively, though, she does have a lot less health than Tomoe, and, well, yet again, our camera is more powered up, so not too difficult to take care of. And if we take a quick picture of the well itself, we do get a little bit of an idea of, well, just what might have happened to that girl. Long, outstretched arms dragging a tormented face down into the black, inky darkness. But we now see the item that we came over here for, which is a blue carving. And before we actually head back to that door, no item waiting for us back here, but, well, since we're actually near that shrine, we might as well go ahead and investigate back up there. I have a feeling that there might be something nice and new waiting for us up there. Now we already see that there are some new items waiting for us. And I swear we are just rolling in Type 37 film by this point. I think we're actually at 99. We get a small little ambush here as we actually try to head it into the shrine itself. It's just the broken-necked woman, nothing too much to worry about. Is pretty much always guaranteed to ambush you as you try to enter in here, so it's actually good to take care of her before you push inside. And it may seem initially like there's nothing in here, but if we examine that mirror, we do see a ghostly imprint of, well, just whatever might have attacked us in the previous update. But looking at our score, we are sitting on quite a bit of points. We might as well max out our range. We are very close to maxing out everything, but, ooh, that max value is going to be very expensive, but I think we'll be able to max that out before the end of this night. So now it is just a measure of heading back to the rubble room and using that carving we got. And the game is actually pretty nice by this point. It gives us a really gentle reprieve. No horribleness to catch us off guard, just the lovely darkness and leaves falling onto the gentle ground. It is very striking at times just how silent the game can be. It really gives across the feeling of, well, the mansion being more of a mortuary than a place where people once lived. But I didn't leave the journey back in just to soak in the atmosphere. We actually do get a surprise attack from the blind woman. Especially in this particular corridor, it's really easy for her to just get the drop on you. As you can probably tell from Miku's life right now, the blind woman is really not to be underestimated. She really does quite a bit of damage given the chance. And especially if you have not gotten down to the fact that just snapping pictures of her will cause her to immediately charge in and attack you, well, you can be in a pretty bad spot very quickly. But we'll go ahead and use our blue carving and solve another simple yet more complicated matching puzzle. And that leads us into some brand new territory. By the showing of our bro's shadow, it definitely seems like we're on the right track. Problem is, almost immediately we run into yet another locked door. This one's cryptic clue is actually going to be for something we have next to no idea where it could be. The only real clue we have is it seems to be surrounded by water. Now, there is only one real area where there might be water to investigate, but before we go there, let's go ahead and pick up this shiny object. It's actually another note from Mafuyo. And this is actually our first inkling that the true power of the mansion is something we haven't really come to grips yet with. And it appears that Mafuyo may have gone back in time somehow. That is indeed interesting, and maybe explaining why he's not a ghost and just some echo from the past. I guess we'll have to just worry about that later, and head back to where we actually need to be, which is a lovely abyss. Now, if you recall from before, the little pier heading out was pretty short. But on the second night here, as we head out, we see that the pier actually reaches further out into the abyss and its black waters. And at the end of the pier, we do find what was shown in that picture, along with yet another carving. Also, there is a little hidden away item around the back of the burial mound here. And it is yet another stone mirror. But let's go ahead and head back and use our new carving. But not before we have to deal with another randomized encounter. I think I forgot to mention before, but this particular ghost is named the Bound Man. Yet again, not really that hard to deal with, and Well, he really doesn't even give that many points. Thankfully, his shutter chance is really, really tight, so it's not too hard to get the maximum amount. But actually, before we leave the Abyss fully, there is another hidden away thing in here. If you recall where we got that film in the previous update, if we actually check down the little alleyway again, we see some distortion, and we find another hidden ghost. But with that out of the way, we can now safely head back to the corridor with the locked door. Definitely have not seen that particular ghost before. And that particular ghost can actually be a massive pain in the ass to get, just because, well, for some of the vanishing ghosts, Miku will actually automatically aim towards them, but not all of them. And sometimes that auto-aiming can kind of throw you off, so occasionally you will be trying to want to turn yourself, and, well, you'll kind of overshoot the auto-aiming, and, well, you'll miss your chance. But just really quick, I want to go ahead and save. Haven't done that in quite a bit of time. And with this second matching puzzle, we're actually gonna finally see just what requires two heavily locked doors.
It's Mafuyu.
And what's the name of this highly welcoming place, you might ask? Well, if we check the map really quick. Yep, we are in the Demon's Mouth, which is directly adjacent to the Abyss, so I smell nothing but good things ahead of us. Yeah, we are in a very large, looming cavern. It goes quite a few floors down. And outside of just its overall depth, it seems overall barren. Kind of makes you wonder just, well, what purpose this room might have served. But outside of this altar-esque looking structure in the center here. The one real focal point of the room is this incredibly large door here. I'm actually not sure what this symbol is supposed to be. Maybe someone in the thread might know better than I. But off to the side there is a shiny piece of file waiting for us to pick up. Yet another piece of research scrap, this time going into a bit more about some of the rituals that were kind of lost to time. And we see here the first mention of a blinding mask. I get a strong feeling that might have something to do with that blind ghost we've been seeing. But let's go ahead and try the door. I think that was the guy from the balcony. And if we go ahead and take a picture of the distortion here, we will get an idea of what the key is for the door. It is a mask. But I think this is a good stopping point for this video. Next time, hopefully you'll join me as we venture and hopefully find this mysterious mask. See you then.